If you're watching this video, chances are you've thought about what it'd be like to be in your favorite shonen. Whether that be in the ninja world of Naruto, the sorcerer-driven society of Jujutsu Kaisen, or the island of Paradis in Attack on... Okay, maybe not that last one. But it goes without saying, if you were actually put into any of these verses, you'd probably die. Like, instantly. But how bad would it really be? So in this video, I'm going to look through 10 popular battle shonen anime, with a sports anime in there just for fun, and see whether or not your average Joe could actually survive in these worlds, or even thrive with enough progress. I'm going to be ranking them on a scale from 0 to 10, inspired by the real global bad guy index, with 0 being absolutely no risk for a normal person, and 10 being almost immediate death. By the end of this, we'll average the scores to see how survivable shonen anime is as a whole, while also providing you with a list of cozy worlds for you to isekai into. Anyway, let's get started with the list. The first verse we'll be taking a look at is the ninja world of Naruto. Naruto takes place in a world of countries, or hidden villages as they call them, where ninja, and occasionally samurai, are capable of using jutsu to essentially cast spells. There are thousands of different jutsu, ranging from creating fireballs and summoning water dragons in the first half of the series to engaging in long-range nuclear warfare in the second half of the series. Unfortunately, you'll be able to do none of this. To be clear, you won't be gaining the powers and abilities of each verse, even if the average person could do them. You remain a powerless human from Earth. Furthermore, I'll just clarify one more thing. Most of these worlds are extremely massive, with many potential regions one could find themselves in, some being chill and some being downright catastrophic. While the possibility of moving to safer areas will be on the table in some of these scenarios, generally you will spawn around where the main character is at the beginning of the series. Just imagine that you are a background character who suddenly blurped into existence in episode 1. Anyway, you know what? Despite the countless conflicts in the show, living in Naruto as a normal person actually isn't that bad. You'd spawn into the Hidden Leaf Village, which is one of the most stable and powerful villages within the entire setting. While you wouldn't be able to become a shinobi, and why would you want to, you'd probably be able to find a job as like a ramen vendor or an office worker, because paperwork does exist within the verse for some reason. You could probably live out your entire life without much trouble, if you're lucky. But what happens if you're unlucky? Well, there are literal walking weapons of mass destruction known as the tailed beasts just wandering around. When a dog gets excited, it'll probably just run around in circles, but when a tailed beast gets excited, they'll probably clear a mountain range or two. That's pretty bad, but we can't forget the psychopaths now, can we? You could end up being attacked for no reason, like when Orochimaru pulled up with massive snakes, when Deidara started carpet bombing the Sand Village, or when Pain... I'm sorry to say, but if you think you're surviving this, then you're completely delusional. Even the things on the smaller side suck, like being robbed. Yeah, in real life they might shank or shoot you, but they'll literally burn you alive here. Still, it's exceedingly possible to lead a relatively normal life in Naruto, as long as you stick to your village's borders and don't end up unlucky enough to get caught up in an attack. Honestly, if you move to a village like the Hidden Cloud, which is still very powerful and peaceful, but doesn't get attacked anywhere as often as the Leaf, you'd probably be chilling. So I'll give Naruto a risk ranking of about 4 out of 10. Now, Bleach is a little bit more interesting because 90% of the events that take place within the series don't even happen in the human world. The Soul Society arc, the Arrancar arc, the Thousand Year Blood War arc, all of these take place in parallel dimensions. And it's true that there are some heavy hitters in Bleach, people strong enough to wipe out entire cities in an instant, but for the most part, not a single one of them is actually interested in coming to or destroying the human world. You could go about living a regular life without having to worry about a single one of them. No, as a human, your main threat comes in the form of Hollows, a race of creatures born from human souls who are unable to pass into the afterlife. Hollows, for the most part, are your standard race of evil monsters. They come in a wide range of appearances, each with their own unique abilities. And unfortunately, not only are they able to kill regular human beings with ease, they have an almost insatiable bloodlust for human souls. Oh yeah, did I mention that they're completely invisible as well? So you could be chilling on call with someone, then suddenly get your skull crushed by something that you can't even see. You good, bro? Thankfully, there are some general ways to avoid hollow attacks. Thanks to your piss poor spiritual pressure, they probably won't even bother going after you, making you mostly invisible to them. Furthermore, if your local Shinigami is even half competent, they'll be able to deal with any hollow that appears before they become a problem. Really, as long as you move out from Karakura Town, you'll probably be fine. So I'll give Bleach a risk ranking of about 2 out of 10. Yeah, the danger exists, but for the most part, it's completely foreign to normal people, and the chances of you actually encountering a hollow if you don't live in Karakura Town are exceedingly low. Jujutsu Kaisen is a bit like Bleach, but worse in every conceivable way. This setting is again just regular Japan, so everyone around is living a normal, modern life. Difference between you and them though is that you have no cursed energy, and energy produced from negative human emotions. This won't really change how you live your life, but it will make it more difficult for curses to sense you, which will be important. Cursed spirits are a lot like hollows from Bleach. They both indiscriminately attack humans, are invisible to the naked eye, and could easily kill a regular person. But in Bleach, you don't really need to worry about the stronger hollows because they fuck off to Hoikomondo to get stronger through cannibalism. This is not the case in Jujutsu Kaisen. The strongest curses who are capable of wiping out entire city blocks are genuinely just wandering around. You could unironically walk beneath a bridge and find a special grade curse who will see you and then just instantly tear you apart. You're not even safe in the comfort of your own home. Just look at what happened to Shibuya. Yeah, stuff like this happens all the time in the verse. It's not even localized to one area or one country. Apparently, cursed spirits exist to some capacity all over the entire world. Let's not forget about the curse users either, who might be even worse because they'll deliberately hunt you down just to do experiments with your body. Yeah, living in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen sucks, especially with the state of the nation at the end of the series. Just look at this clip.
Huh? What's on the TV? Some movie.
That's fucked up. Jujutsu Kaisen gets an easy 7 out of 10 on the risk scale. You could genuinely enter the wrong building and end up as bait on a curse's fishing rod. Yeah, no thanks. And now we have back-to-back bangers with the My Hero Academia verse, which is arguably even worse. In My Hero Academia, 80% of the population are born with supernatural abilities called quirks, though as you're a normal person, you would be quirkless by default. Quirks come in 3 flavors: up, down, wrong thing, that's physics. Emitters who can control or create stuff, transformatives who can temporarily change their body, and mutants whose bodies are permanently changed since birth. So you could have a spray bottle for a head, or you could have someone who can decay your entire body in seconds. It's kind of up to chance and genetics. See, the setting of My Hero Academia is a lot like handing people random weapons. Some people get butter knives, while other people get nuclear bombs. At any moment, someone could stumble onto you and use their quirk to decimate you and your entire family. Even if this doesn't specifically happen to you, some quirks have enough area of effect to generally match the destructive capabilities of thermonuclear explosions. Shigaraki has erased multiple cities, including all of their inhabitants, because of his daddy issues. Dabi wanders the streets burning people alive because of his daddy issues. Overhaul could turn you into a stain on the wall because you coughed near him. You could bump into a D1 crash out on the street and have to watch as they laser a hole through your scalp. Worst of all are the children, because some quirks are genuinely just so uncontrollable that being around them the moment they awaken could instantly end you. Yeah, My Hero Academia is a solid 8 out of 10 on the risk scale, because even someone with a quirk as stupid as producing mushrooms could suffocate you for fun. The world of One Piece is as large as it is unforgiving, filled with pirates, corrupt government officials, and giant sea monsters that would rip you to shreds. To venture out into the world of One Piece as a normal person who cannot perform diverse superhuman feats and will never gain access to Haki or Devil Fruit powers is essentially signing your death warrant. That is, of course, if you leave your island. Okay, hear me out for a second. The rules of this challenge state you spawn in or around where the main character began their journey, like a background character appearing in episode 1. So that means you'd spawn on Dawn Island in Fuchsia Village, where Luffy came from. And you know what? Nothing bad really happens here. It's just a calm little port village with little to speak of, and you could even settle down, get a job, a wife, and live a peaceful, quiet life by the seaside. The adventure, the One Piece calls for me. Just be quiet, just be quiet. The world of One Piece is brimming with pirates who will rob you blind and murder you, and gets progressively worse the further out you go. Many other islands are run by horribly corrupt individuals who will tax you until you've sold all the clothes on your back. All you need to do is settle down here and not complain, and you will live a chill life. If you can do that, then One Piece gets a 1 on the risk scaling. Yeah, pirates might show up, but the ones who do come to that island are generally chill, so you'll be alright. Dragon Ball is just pretty funny. You might believe that it's inherently the worst due to how many characters are capable of erasing entire solar systems when they feel like it, but the people of Earth do have a sort of plot armor. Almost all threats in Dragon Ball have absolutely no interest in regular people, usually just arriving to fight the strongest. And while yes, these people are capable of destroying planets and whatnot, most of the time their fights aren't even all that destructive. Yeah, they'll shatter mountains and such, but usually this happens so far away from civilian centers that you wouldn't even notice. That doesn't mean you're not gonna die though. No, you'll probably die a couple fucking times actually. Remember when Cell absorbed every single living being in a city? That looks like a cakewalk compared to what other Dragon Ball antagonists have done. Like when Buu used his all-life extinction attack to individually kill every single human on the planet. Or when Frieza just did it the old-fashioned way and blew up the earth. Yeah, you're probably going to die a horrible sudden death a couple of times. But the nice thing about Dragon Ball is that nobody truly dies, not even unnamed civilians like you, because in the end, they'll always be brought back through the Dragon Balls or through time manipulation. So depending on how you see it, Dragon Ball is either a 10 out of 10 on the risk scale due to the fact that you're almost guaranteed to die, or a 0 out of 10 on the risk scale due to the fact that you'll always be brought back. I'm just gonna give it a 3 because you can live a relatively normal life, though every now and again you'll suddenly die then be brought back later. Also, dinosaurs do exist. I'm sure that makes life a bit hard. Attack on Titan is bad. I don't think I've ever met a single person who said, oh, I don't want to live in the Attack on Titan universe, and for a good reason. In the earlier part of the series, your main threat comes from the Titans, massive humanoid entities which wander around with the sole purpose of eating and devouring humans. Prior to the events of the main story, they're secluded from humanity by the walls, but following the attacks from the colossal and armored Titans, they wander the city districts, searching for their next prey. Very few anime have genuinely unsettled me, but the scenes of Attack on Titan where Titans will peer into homes looking for the next victim before grabbing someone out and brutally crushing their skull will never cease to horrify me. There's no normal life to be had, not in the first half of the series anyway. You'll probably just be running from place to place as the walls continue to get breached. You'd be lucky to even make it out alive. And in the latter half of the series, this does not get better. If you chose to leave Paradise, you would most likely be part of the massive 80% of the human population that was killed once Eren initiated the rumbling, crushed or boiled to death as thousands of colossal titans spread out to consume the earth. Even if you stayed at Paradise, things don't really get better. You'd enjoy a relative period of peace before being attacked again, with the entire nation being leveled to the ground due to a war that happens at the epilogue of the series. Overall, a completely dreadful setting to live in, where your options are either to be slowly eaten alive by Titan in the first half of the series, or be another victim of all the wars in the second half. A harsh 9 out of 10 on the risk scale. While JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is certainly a freaky series, it actually isn't that bad of a verse to live in. Once again, it's another setting that takes place in modern Japan, or Italy, or America. It's kind of worldwide. Most of the conflicts that happen in the series are pretty localized though, only really affecting people in the immediate range of stand users, who will be your biggest issue. Stand users are those who are capable of manifesting stands, allowing them to use all manner of supernatural abilities. Stand users also naturally attract each other, though because you're not a stand user yourself, you should probably be fine. Avoiding stand users also isn't particularly hard. You might be wondering, if I can't see stands, how would I know that someone is a stand user? Don't worry, it's pretty fucking obvious. Sometimes stand users do attack the general populace, like when Chocolata used Green Day to start killing anyone who moved down, or when Prosciutto used the Grateful Dead to age up an entire train. Nothing you can really do about moments like these except pray that they don't happen. There are also just stands in the wild taking the form of natural phenomena and such, some of which could definitely kill you. But your chances of actually encountering a stand are still extremely rare, so chances are you could live a somewhat decent life. So overall, I'd give Jojo about a 3 on the risk scale. Now, you might be wondering what a sports anime is doing here. How can you survive something that poses no actual risk to your life? Well, I added Blue Lock in here just for fun, to see what it would be like if a normal person was thrown into the program, and see whether or not they could survive. If you don't know, the Blue Lock program is a football selection that seeks to find the greatest footballer in all of Japan. Of course, the entire Blue Lock program can only have one winner, so surviving here will simply mean making it from the dormitory test up to the Neo Egoist League, where many side characters' football careers are basically guaranteed thanks to worldwide attention. The first trial of Blue Lock is the dormitory test. 12 people are placed into a room, and the last person to touch the ball by the time the timer runs out is forced to leave. A pretty easy trial to survive, even if you have absolute monsters in your group that are doing handstands with the ball and shit. As long as you're not cut out, you'll probably make it through. The first selection is a bit more tricky for an average person. It's a team-on-team elimination tournament, where only the 2 best teams will go through, alongside the top scorers from every other team. And you're not gonna be a top scorer, just trust me bro. At this point, it's entirely up to luck whether your team is actually good enough. Honestly, just hope that you get the second coming of football Jesus, and if you do, make sure to leech off that person for as long as possible, especially in the next selection. Let's say you lucked out and made it through to the second selection. Great! Well, the first stage is already bad because it's an individual event. The point is to score 100 goals within 90 minutes against increasingly difficult odds. That sounds pretty hard, right? And normally I would say we lose here. But if Igarashi could do it, then we probably could too. The second part of this second selection once again relies on getting good teammates. An elimination-based team game where winning a game allows you to steal someone from the enemy team. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, but your ass is not getting chosen, so just hope that you can get great teammates. Hopefully there will be some kind of edgy prodigy who doesn't care who his teammates are. If that's the case, then you're probably chilling. From there, you just have to get your ass kicked by the world's best, not get selected for the U20, because let's be honest, they're not picking you, and bam, you're in the Neo Egoist League. You'll probably be benched the entire time, but hey, you made it. Now, how would I rank the difficulty of surviving Blue Lock? Well, due to the trouble of making it past either first or second selection without having good teammates, as well as the fact that the first stage of the second selection is honestly pretty hard, like credit where credit is due to Igarashi, I'm going to give Blue Lock a risk scaling of about 8 out of 10. And last but not least, we have Death Note. Death Note is, you guessed it, another series that takes place within modern Japan. Death Note is actually pretty interesting, because as long as you don't do one very specific thing, you should be able to live a completely normal life. Okay, maybe it's not one specific thing, more like, an entire law book of things. We all know the premise of Death Note. A megalomaniacal boy gets a book that kills people when he writes their names in it, so he goes on a killing spree for criminals. Basically, as long as you don't commit any crimes, you should be absolutely fine. You guys don't commit crimes, do you? It'd also just be a generally good idea to stay away from the police force, or anything that could get in the way of Kira for that matter. But now that I think about it, there is some sort of leverage we could gain from the scenario. Because you just spawn into the world of Death Note, your name wouldn't be on any registers or records, making it impossible to kill you with a Death Note as long as you don't tell anyone what your name is. That is, of course, unless they track you down and use the Shinigami eyes on you, but as long as that doesn't happen, you're practically immune. So yeah, this really is a world of minimal risk. I'll be giving Death Note a 1 on the risk scaling then. And with that, we get an average score of 4.6 on the risk scaling. Rounding that up to 5, we get that the average shonen setting generally has a balanced risk, where survival is possible, but there's a 50-50 chance depending on overall luck and how much you choose to engage with danger. Not too horrible, but much worse than reality. So when that semi-truck hits you, the world of Death Note would be your best bet to be isekai'd, as it's pretty much just the normal world, but with harsher consequences for criminals. The no-go list is of course made up of Attack on Titan with its flesh-eating monsters, My Hero Academia with how a 6-year-old could probably level a city block, and Jujutsu Kaisen, where the curse of holding a shit in will absolutely decimate your entire family lineage because you didn't order fries with your Big Mac. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the content, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Peace.